Hi everybody, my name is Samantha
And I'm Alison.
and we are the Garcia Sisters. We are the creators of the Night Owl Chronicles book series and welcome to episode 2.
Yep, episode 2 of the Night Owl Chronicles. We're really excited. Thank you for coming back to see as we read chapter 2. Really
Yes.
excited about that.
Very
aren't
excited and we're in for a treat today. We're going to dive into chapter 2 today. But before I get into it, Alison, for those who haven't watched last week, what can you tell us about last week's podcast?
we? Yep, so if you want to get a quick recap of what happened last week, we read chapter 1 of The Door. This is the first one, that's the cover there. So we read chapter 1 titled It Begins. And yeah, as a quick recap, the protagonist, Josh Riley, it starts with him actually going to see a psychiatrist. Her name's Dr. Alan Young. And we know from the get-go that he's suffering from severe post-traumatic disorder because he had a very violent break-in where his dad, was hit on the head, his mum was screaming, and these two men that broke into the house, they bashed him until he was actually unconscious for a couple of days in the hospital. So now he's moving into a new house, just to get away from all the bad memories of what happened. So now he's into this new house. He's moved from Lincoln. He's gone to Sudbury, and yeah, we know that he has a girlfriend. He's got his friends. So now we're going to get straight into the more we read about what's going to happen in this house.
Okay, so in chapter 2, title Welcome Miss Wolf. Oh, I like this chapter.
Yeah, so more we read, it's going to get a lot darker now. So
Okay, let's begin. Please don't kill him, is what my mother said, pleading and begging the intruder as he held a gun to my head. For a moment, the other intruder held my mum down, forcing her to drop to the floor. Her tears and deep sorrow didn't persuade them to let us go. I could feel the barrel of his gun at the back of my head. My life was in his uncaring hands. How impulsive was he? Would he shoot to prove his point to my mother? He had no remorse, only hatred, anger, and a delusional look on his face from the drugs. He was bigger and stronger than me. I saw my blood smeared over the brass knuckles. He had punched me several times. My cheeks were throbbing, and I couldn't open my left eye.
nothing personal, kid, he said. Then he pulled the trigger. I closed my eyes and waited for the end. What would wait for me on the other side? And now we cut to a new scene. I woke up abruptly from the horrible nightmare, my breathing fast and heavy. I hated having those nightmares. Relieving that night in my dreams was so damn stressful. I pressed my forehead into my right palm and wiped away my sweat. My alarm clock sounded and I quickly hit the off button. I tried my best to relax and said to myself that it had just been a nightmare. Saying this made my breathing normalize, so I sat on my bed, my legs sprawled out, my shoulders tense. When will the nightmares stop? I asked myself. I looked at the window to my left and noticed the horrible weather outside. It seemed so grey, dull and lifeless. Staying home would be a good idea, but I couldn't. I had to go to school. Also, I had so much to get through. Needed a shower, and I had to change my sweaty bed sheets. Gross. I stepped outside my room, walked down the hallway, and noticed the rain hitting the stained glass windows. Each window had different coloured flowers on them. Sometimes I reflected vibrant shades down the winding staircase, and everything would be covered in rainbow colours. And as I walked downstairs and quietly made my way toward the kitchen, I could smell something delicious brewing, and my stomach rumbled.
I opened the kitchen door, and my mum was cooking a yummy breakfast. She placed fresh juice, toast, scones, and scrambled eggs on the table. Before the attack, Mum had never prepared breakfast for me. This must have been her way of comforting me. Since moving to the new house, we'd always have breakfast together in the kitchen. That night had changed everything. I guess it had changed everyone, including myself. "Good morning, honey," she said, still in her pajamas. She wore her usual pink dressing gown and slippers, her blonde hair in a messy bun. "Morning," I replied, noticing that she was staring at me. I wondered for a second whether she could see the look of exhaustion on my face, Josh thought. "You don't look too good. Did you have another nightmare?" my mum asked. "I'm fine, Mum," I replied, not wanting to continue talking about it as I sipped my juice. "How did your session go yesterday?" she asked, breaking a scone in half. "All right," I muttered. But before I could continue, we both heard a tapping sound coming from the second kitchen door that led to the backyard. It was Dad. He had managed to lock himself out again. "I'll get it," I said, as I quickly went to open the door. When I opened it, I was disappointed by how much it was raining. Our swimming pool was almost overflowing. "It's pouring out there," Dad said, unzipping his yellow raincoat. "What were you doing out there?" I asked.
"Trying to save our clothes, which are supposed to be dry by now. Jane, could you help me with it?" Dad replied as he held out an armful of clothing with large splotches of water on them. "Give them to me," Mum said, as she quickly grabbed the clothes and headed to the laundry door. Dad sat at the table and started eating breakfast. His grain-brown hair was soaked from the rain and his raincoat was drenched. "So, Josh, have you decided what you want to do about college?" he calmly asked. "No, I haven't. In fact, I'm not sure that I want to. And I don't know what to do," I answered, though I could tell Dad wasn't impressed. He raised his right eyebrow as he buttered his bread. He always did that when he wasn't happy about something. I knew he meant well, but it was too early in the morning to be talking about this. He remained quiet, and there was suddenly an awkward silence between us. I looked around the kitchen and noticed that it was quite dark inside. It didn't matter whether it was bright and sunny outside, or even raining like today. The dark wood inside this house would always make everything look dark and somber. "Well, I better get ready for school. I don't want to be late," Joshua said. "Do you need a lift?" Dad asked. "No, it's fine. I'll walk, thanks." "But it's raining." "I'll be okay. I'll take an umbrella." I left the kitchen, not giving him a chance to press on any further. Besides, I wanted to go to school alone.
I sprinted upstairs to my room. I hated every time Dad asked me what I wanted to do after graduation. I'll figure that out on myself, eventually. I needed a quick shower before I went to school. I grabbed my usual jeans along with a blue t-shirt and headed to my bathroom, which was connected to my bedroom. It was strange, but my bathroom and my parents' bathroom were the only rooms in this house that were bright. Everything else was dark wood, and even the windows in my bathroom had printed flowers on them. My bathroom displayed a white marble bench that had a long scratch on it, white floor tiles, a ceramic sink, toilet, bathtub, and a shower. As I stepped into the shower, the hot water felt great. It was as if the water was massaging my entire body. I dried myself off, looked in the mirror, and stared at my face in silence. I remember what Dr. Young had said. I was a survivor. I should remind myself of that more often. She was right about one thing. It could have ended much worse. But it hadn't. I dressed quickly and headed out. To my relief, the rain had stopped, so walking to school would be a breeze. I was about a couple of yards from school when suddenly I heard a familiar voice calling out to me. "Hey Josh, wait up!" I turned around and saw Chris wave to me as Ken followed. I waited for them as they approached. Chris looked funny as he rode his skateboard next to me because he had forgotten to brush his hair again. I had never been good at skateboarding, but I admired how he could do certain maneuvers without flinching.
At the main entrance, go back. He could always do so many things at once. Skateboard, listen to music, play a game on his phone, and tell me about a new movie he had seen. His dress sense was very rock star, with ripped jeans, sneakers, and his favourite Black Ramones t-shirt. Chris was our tech guy though. He knew everything about technology and computers. "Hey Josh, guess what?" he said. "What?" I replied. "I have more than 1,000 followers on Facebook," Chris said, staring closely at his phone. He had a habit of doing that. "Your tech programming page?" I asked. "Yep, I'm the mastermind and one day I'll crack the code. You'll see," Chris proclaimed as he rode ahead on his skateboard. I have no idea what he's talking about. He's always saying that he's going to crack a major code. "I don't even know what code he's talking about," I said to Ken as we both chuckled. "Now, he's in his own world," Ken said. My other friend, Ken, was the complete opposite of Chris. Ken's camera always travelled with him wherever he went. If inspiration crossed his path, he would take a picture. He always had a story behind every picture he took, and quite a long one too. He was good at taking photos, and I guess that's why photography was his favourite subject. I could relate more to Ken because he too enjoyed writing, like me, and was more, dare I say, sensible. "Have you taken any new pictures lately?" I asked. "Yep, take a look," Ken replied as he turned over his professional camera to me through the LCD screen.
Through the LCD screen, I could see photos of old houses, buildings, statues, even storm clouds that looked haunting. "That's really good. Where did you take them?" Josh asked, feeling a little hypnotized by the photos. They were fantastic. "I like to explore Sudbury. I've learnt that anything can be a good photo. You just need to know where to look," Ken explained. I was impressed by the pictures, and I could tell he was happy about that. "I want to be a professional photographer after I leave school." "Why not? You're good at it," Josh said. "Yeah, I want to be my own boss," Ken proudly said. "As long as you keep your eye on the target," I said, pointing to my index finger and the middle finger on my temple. "I wouldn't mind going to China and taking photos of the Great Wall," Ken said. "Do you have family there?" "Dude, I'm Chinese. I have way too many family members here and over here. I've lost count of so many cousins I have," Ken said as he flipped his black hair to the side. His hairstyle reminded me of Justin Bieber when he first burst onto the screen. His hair naturally went forward, causing him to flip to the side like a pop star. They had finally arrived at school, Lincoln Sudbury Regional High School. Because it was my senior year, I wanted to graduate with the best possible grades. I just needed to stay focused. At the main entrance, Emma was waiting for me. She was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I loved everything about her. As I approached her, I immediately gave her a kiss and ran my hands through her long, soft blonde hair. "Hi, beautiful," I said. "Hi, Joshy." "Ready for first period English?" she asked, smiling at me. Damn, she had the perfect smile and those cheekbones. "Contain yourself, Josh." "Yes. Yeah, I am," I replied. Emma had such a cheerful personality. She was friendly to everyone. She was more fun and outspoken than me. I guess that's why I admired her so much. Emma gave me solid support after the attack. She even made dinner for my parents so that they could have the night off. "I heard we have a new girl starting school today," Emma said. "Really? Do you know her?" I asked. "No, but I guess we'll soon find out," Emma replied, adjusting her light brown shirt, which fell perfectly over her tight blue jeans. The bell rang and we went inside, my arm draped around her. I quickly headed to my locker and put away my backpack while grabbing my textbook and novel. I glanced at a photo of Emma that was inside my locker. I was so lucky to have her in my life. I closed my locker and then headed to class.
English was my favourite subject because Emma, Chris and Ken and I were all in the same class. When everyone settled, our teacher made an announcement, causing us to become quiet.
Good morning, everyone. I trust you all had a good weekend. I would like you all to meet Amanda Wolf. It's her first day today, so please make her feel welcome, the teacher said. We all looked at the door, and an very odd looking girl walked in. Her eyes were cast down to the floor. Her head was also down as she approached the teacher. She finally looked up at everyone, and I could instantly tell that she didn't want to be there. This mysterious new girl with pale skin and dark hair looked very unimpressed. She wore dark lipstick and dark clothing, so I assumed that she was some weird emo chick. But her eyes, those striking green eyes. Everyone, this is Amanda Wolf, Mrs. Andrews said with a smile. No one said anything, but someone howled like a wolf in the back. Everyone started to laugh, including myself. Chris, do you want attention after school? Mrs. Andrew asked, looking disappointed. Her glasses hung on the bridge of her nose and looked as if she was about to fall off. Chris didn't say anything, but he kept chuckling to himself as he buried his head in his book. He was the class clown for sure. He always had a good line. Amanda, take a seat over there, Mrs. Andrew instructed as she tucked her curly light brown hair behind her ears. Amanda's seat was right next to mine. Oh crap. Did this mean I had to do small talk? I wasn't in the mood to entertain her. I watched her as she walked toward me. There was something odd and weird about her. I didn't like it. Today, we're going to resume our discussion about Lord of the Flies. This is the book we're reading, Amanda, she said, waving the book in the air. Amanda said nothing, but she did roll her eyes when the teacher turned her back.
The teacher continued, I trust you have all read chapter 3. So Chris, can you tell us about chapter 3? I turned around and chuckled to myself because his face said it all. Emma tried hard to contain her laughter. Chris looked oblivious to the teacher's question. I was sure he hadn't even read the first 2 chapters. We were around 40 minutes into the class with Mrs. Andrew, and she was making notes on the blackboard about the characters in the novel. As Mrs. Andrew started talking to the other students, I couldn't help noticing out of the corner of my eye, Amanda was staring at me. Why was she staring at me? I felt super awkward when her eyes didn't leave me. She wasn't looking away, so I turned and looked at her. Ha, how do you like it now? I didn't know anything about makeup, but I did know that she was wearing way too much of it. Those dark red lips and the smudged black makeup on her eyes were doing her no favours. She looked like a clown. Was it Halloween? Had the circus come into town? I thought. I felt as if I needed to give her a spatula to remove it all. What? I sharply asked her. Is something wrong? I asked again, but I got no response. Why are you staring at me? Before I could think of something else to say, the school bell sounded through the speaker above the blackboard, causing everyone to stand up and rush to the door. It was always a race to the door. Everyone passed by, but I remained seated, staring at her.
Her green eyes locked onto mine. Suddenly, Amanda stood up and walked out. Whoa, that was so weird and rude. Why has she been staring at me? Strange girl. As I exited the classroom, I felt my phone vibrate. It was a text message from Mum. It read, Josh, come home now. Something has happened. I immediately felt dread and sick to my stomach. What could have happened? How bad was it? And should I leave school now? I started to feel anxious and fearful of the unknown, and I almost didn't want to go home. I looked up and saw Emma. She frowned hard, as if she knew something was troubling me. What's wrong? She asked. I don't know, but I have to go home. Is everything all right? She asked. I don't think so. Something's wrong. I'll call you later. Please don't forget. Emma said. I kissed her soft pink lips and walked away fast, feeling my legs tremble and my skin itch. I had to be strong no matter what I faced when I got home. I was a survivor, but I didn't feel like one right now. Wow, and that concludes chapter 2. I just want to say something though.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see much of Amanda Wolf, but Amanda Wolf is my favourite character by far. She's strange, she's weird, she will annoy you. However, though, she is my favourite character. I love her.
I think you'll love to hate her though.
You'll love to hate her.
And here's a heads up though. She obviously she makes more of an appearance as the book progresses though, but she actually has. We have something in store. She actually has her own story. She is in book 4, which we've started to plan.
No,
or is it book 5?
I believe it's 5.
Book 5.
I believe it's 5, actually.
Book 5. Book 4 or 5, yeah. So it's actually called, should we say it or?
Wolf in the Woods.
Yeah, it's called Wolf in the Woods. She's actually the main character.
But there is a reason why, again, there is a reason why she has appeared here and to turn Josh's life upside down.
Yes. She is, you know, you'll soon find out, you know, we're not going to give too much away because we are going to be reading more chapters as the weeks come, but she is connected indirectly, would you say, or directly to what happens to Josh in the coming weeks. You know, his nightmare unfolds because now we know that, you know, he's got really good friends. He's got Chris and Ken, that's his best friends. He's got his girlfriend Emma that he loves tremendously, and he still can't believe why she's actually with him. Yeah,
and we've also introduced his closest friends. So we've got Chris and Ken. Chris, who is the technology expert, you could say. Well,
Ken loves photography.
Ken loves photography.
And Josh has no idea what he wants to do.
Josh is a bit lost in his own little world.
Yeah.
So, but we will continue on, and you'll soon find out what happens next week for chapter 3.
Yeah.
So I loved reading that.
Yeah, he got a very bad. He didn't get a happy text message from his mum. Something has happened.
So he has got.
And he's really worried because automatically he assumes the worst. So, chapter 3, you'll actually find out what has happened when he goes home, and of course, in the world of the Night Owl Chronicles, it's never good news.
But for those listening and watching us, what do you think happened when he goes home? I'd love to hear your thoughts. So something's happened. He's received a text message where he has to go home. So if you're in Josh's shoes, what do you think has happened? So if you want to leave comments, go for it, and we will surprise you next week for that.
Yes, so chapter 3 is actually called We Have Arrived. So that says a lot already on its own, and we do know this is a supernatural, paranormal thriller, so nothing good's going to happen to him, but you will find out very, very soon, though. Of course, the first 2 chapters were getting to know Josh, getting to know his family, so his friends, his girlfriend, getting to know his world, but we will...
And the arrival of a strange student.
Yeah, the arrival of a strange student, but of course something else much more sinister is going to happen.
Okay.
So you have to stay tuned.
You have to stay tuned. So before we go, I just want to give thanks to 3CR Radio. A big thanks to Nikki, our producer. She's awesome and cool.
Absolutely awesome. Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you again for watching, listening. We love you all, and many, many thanks. So to end this,
we want to say to all our readers, like we always say to you when we finish anything, we always say, follow the owl.
Follow the owl.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.